Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I hope everyone's doing well. Today I'm jumping right in. It's a mini rant, but somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs this advice. So let's go. I am going to say the bit out loud that no one ever wants to admit. It's probably the thing I shouldn't say, but I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of people aren't getting shortlisted because of their name. I said it, it's out there. And that's the truth. This is coming from someone who has been in recruitment and HR for well over 16 years. I have friends, family who are also in human resources, recruitment, that kind of talent acquisition, that type of world. I have friends who work for huge companies. I mean, phone companies, streaming platform companies, TV companies. Let's just say that. Big, well-known household brands, as well as small companies. I've personally worked for many companies or consulted for companies. So I have done freelance work for different companies. And it is the same in every room and at every table. And I'm not saying all companies are like this because there are some that aren't. But there are literally companies that don't even read your CV. They don't know your skills. They don't know your qualifications. They don't even care. Because your name doesn't fit the mold. I said what I said, and I'm going to back it up with examples so you guys understand where I'm coming from and why this is a thing. The world has not changed as much as we think it has. And I never really like to say the things out loud that you shouldn't say, but when you're in HR, I hear and see so many inappropriate things. You wouldn't believe some of the conversations I've heard. A manager once said to me, why did I book someone in? Had I done a video call with them already? And I was like, yeah. He said to me, but she's very large. This was for a role to work with children, by the way. And he said, what if she squashes a child? What if you don't fat shame people, you disgusting human man? What if we don't body shame people? What if people are good at their job and that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard? So that's just to give you a little example of the things I hear in human resources as a HR manager, as a HR freelancer, as a consultant. These are things people really have said to me. So I want you to understand, sometimes, not all the time, the reason you're not getting shortlisted has nothing to do with your CV. So many of you are changing your CV 552 times and you're still not going to get shortlisted because they saw your CV. Your name didn't fit the traditional mold. It was a little bit too hard for them to say. And they were like, yeah, I can't imagine our clients being able to say this person's name. So yeah, that's a no for me. And people will laugh. And that's the conversation that happens in rooms. And before you ask me, what do I say when I'm in those rooms? Of course I speak up. People forget sometimes I'm in the room because I do have a very English name, like Adele. Adele is a very simple, easy name. It doesn't sound ethnic or however you want to say it, because that's usually the names that, get overlooked. So it's easy for someone like me with a name like Adele. It's not until you see me that you know what I look like. Most people don't guess right. If you see my name, Adele Thompson, it's very English. People don't assume that I look the way I look. So what I want to say to you guys is it's not okay and it's not fair. We shouldn't have to shorten, edit, change our names to make them more palatable. But the truth is, we live in that world. And I know a lot of you are screaming at the podcast episode right now saying, yeah, but Adele, why would you want to work for a company like that? Listen, before you come for me, let me break this down for you. So last year, I had a client who has been stuck at sort of the management, management level, not senior management. She wants to get into senior management. However, they have had her act as senior management. So she has taken on the role. When her manager left, so the director left, they got her to step up for almost 1 year and still didn't give her the job permanently. Still hired someone externally. They didn't officially give her the job. They just made her do it for a year. She's been in companies where she has assisted in that role or been given the opportunity to step up for like a month to see how she likes it or to shadow for a month, but it never goes any further. She's doing well to be where she is. Let's go there first. But when she came to me for some coaching, some of it was she had just had a baby and she was really worried about interviews and things like that. So, oh no, this wasn't last year. This was the year before last. Oh my gosh. 2025 went so quickly. So it was 2024 when this happened. So it was before I went on maternity leave. So it was the end of 2024 going into 2025. Anyway, who cares when it was, Adele? Let's just get back to the story. So yes, so she came to me. She just had a baby herself. She was needing some support with her confidence and interviews. And she was like, and my CV is just not getting shortlisted. Can you help? When I looked at her CV, I was like, your CV is pretty good. We can clean it up a little bit, take a little bit out because she had a little bit too much information in there. I was like, but your CV is good. And I looked at her CV. We talked about the confidence. We worked on some interview techniques. And I was real honest with her because I'm real honest with my clients, just like I'm really honest with you. I said to her, I think you need to shorten your name. And she said, what? She had a 7-letter name and it wasn't an English sounding name. Yeah, let's just say it wasn't a Western sounding name. It was an ethnic sounding name. And I said to her, shorten it to 3 letters. Let's shorten it to 3 simple letters and like let it just sound really simple, really English, really Western, really palatable. That was we had our coaching call on the Tuesday. The Friday she got shortlisted. She asked me why and I explained it to her and she goes, I hear you, Adele. I believe you, Adele. Let's try it out. By the Friday, she had been shortlisted for a head of role. By the Friday. My daughter was looking for a part-time job while she was a student in 2024. And I told her, because she was not getting any callbacks, she had been applying for almost 8 months. And listen, her mum's a career coach. Her CV was on point, but she was not getting any callbacks. And I said to her, you need to shorten your name. And she was like, no, mum, the world's not like that. That's ridiculous. I've got friends who've got like harder names than mine and they've got I said, listen, trust me. And if I'm wrong, then just put it back. I said, it takes 2 minutes, just change it. That night, after she changed it, she got 11 callbacks and 8 emails. Some of them were from jobs she'd already been rejected from previously. They'd already sent the rejection email. But suddenly she changed her name on a job board. I'm not going to say the job board. You know the job board where recruiters can search and find you. Anyway, changed her name and all those people got back to her. 11 calls, 8 emails. The world hasn't changed, like I said. It's sad, but it's true. Things are a little bit more subtle, a little bit more undercover. And like I said earlier, before anyone comes for me, for someone like me, it is easy to say, oh, I wouldn't work somewhere like that. If they don't like my name, then why would I want to work there? Most places are like that. Not 1 or 2. Most places are like that. I'm going to say it again. Most places are like that. Just because you have your job and you have like an ethnic name doesn't mean your CV didn't land on like 7 other desks and was a no for them. It might be that the person who shortlisted you has an interesting name like yours. Because that's what people say. Your name's very interesting. I don't say that, FYI, but that's what people say. So don't jump down my throat. Don't shoot the messenger. Please understand that in the world we live in, the Western world that we live in, when people say what's in a name, a lot's in a name. I have literally seen it happen. There was that huge case years ago where that man sent his exact same CV. He had an Indian name. He sent the same CV to the same job advert and just changed the name. He put a very English name on one and he put his actual name on the other. His actual name got rejected and he got called back and shortlisted with the English name. He sued that company and made a crap load of money. A lot of you have probably had bias training at work, you know, that online training, and that story was in there. It's a true story. Why? Because these things happen. Sometimes people are doing it unconsciously. Unconscious bias is a thing. And sometimes people are doing it intentionally. My daughter, after she shortened her name, got the job, FYI, got a job. And when she got there, everybody, almost everybody, looked like her and was from the same cultural background as her. Yeah, we got a Caribbean background, guys. Most people that work there had the same background as her. But guess what? Most of them had very typical English sounding names. Sarah, Ruth, Louise, Anne, Elizabeth. Very English sounding names, but not necessarily from an English traditional background. So when I say to you that most places are like that, even places where they have diversity, they have people from all walks of life, they still will have an issue with the name. And again, I've heard people justify it by saying, oh, but our clients won't be able to say that name. Customers won't be able to say that name. Listen, the customers will figure it out. If you don't know someone's name, ask. Let's not overlook people's skills, education, impact, because you can't say a name, because it doesn't sound Western enough for you. So yeah, I said the bit out loud that I shouldn't say out loud. The bit that HR sweeps under the rug, the bit that we hide from, but it's the truth. And I'm saying it because this job market is already hard enough. So if shortening your name to 3 letters like I did with my daughter makes it easier, shortening your name like my client had to do to get an interview booked when she had been trying for months and hadn't got shortlisted. We changed her name and a few days later, she got a call back, got booked in for the interview, went to the interview, FYI, wasn't that interested in the company. The money wasn't money in. So we continued to work. And she decided from that moment on, she would use the shortened version of her name. Not because you should conform to people's biases, but because in a world where you need to work, in a world where we need to earn money, in a world where work is not optional, because for some of you, work might be optional, but in a world where work is not optional and you want a good job with good money, sometimes it is your name. And when the people meet you, they're not racist, it's bias. They believe that, like I said, oh, the name's too complicated, it's too hard, it sounds like this. They have an assumption of what the person is going to sound like or what the person is going to be. They suddenly think that English is going to be the person's second language. Why? Because of their name. And even if it was, I know people who English is their second or third language and they speak better than people born here. So let's not even go down that road. However, like I said, it's easy to say what's in a name. It's easy to say, I wouldn't work somewhere that was like that. You might be working somewhere that's like that right now. You may just have a more palatable name, an easier to say name, a name that didn't ring alarm bells for certain people in certain rooms. So yeah, I said what I said. Like I said, as a recruiter, senior recruiter, HR manager, HR freelancer, HR consultant, someone who's been in the rooms, someone who's having these type of conversations with their friends all the time. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you will be seeing a post about the carrier bag, the lady who didn't get a job because she had a carrier bag. Listen, I'm going to start exposing some of these stories. And no, I'm not going to mention companies, I'm not mentioning names, because I'm not about to breach my NDAs or my contracts that I had signed at the time, my confidentiality clauses that outlive me. I'm not about to sign. I'm not about to put myself in hot water. But what I will say is I've worked in enough places, I've spoken to enough people, and I've seen it happen so often. If my daughter wasn't evidence enough to me that the world hasn't changed, my client definitely was. So yeah, if you're struggling to get shortlisted and you have written your CV 552 times, you have had a CV writer write your CV, you have changed it changed the format, changed the font, just done everything you possibly could, put every kind of impact in there that you possibly could, and are still not getting shortlisted. And you have a name that isn't traditionally Western. Try shorten it to something like D, T, B. And I know that sounds so ridiculous, but it's a thing, guys. Anyway, that's my rant over. I said the part out loud that you're not supposed to say. I said the part out loud that I hear in secret, in rooms where it shouldn't be said or discussed, but it is. So yeah, sometimes it's not about your face fitting. Sometimes your name don't fit, so you're not even getting shortlisted. Anyway, guys, comment. Let me know what are your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this subject? Because I do not agree that we should have to shorten our names. This is not me in agreement. This is me letting you know what's actually going on in the world. Because the more you know, the more you can maneuver. Yeah? If you're not in it, you can't change it. Me being in the corporate system means I can change it. Because I'm a short list of people with the names, like my daughter, that aren't Western. Because if your experience, your impact, and your qualifications match what I'm looking for, and you guys know I will overlook a qualification, I'm going to shortlist you. You can only make a change when you get inside. Sometimes the only way to get inside and to get into leadership is to shorten your name so you can get shortlisted, so you can get the role, so that the next person doesn't have to shorten their name. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, guys. And I'll speak to you in the next one.
I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and careers. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.